Hello there and welcome back to the channel. So in our last video we looked at how to build the home page of this plant app, right? And this was what we built. If you haven't watched that video, I recommend you watch it. I will leave a link to that video in the description. So in this particular video we'll be looking at how to build the product details page, right? So if I tap on a product here, it takes me to a page where I can find more details about that particular product. So we also have a section over here which is similar product, but I'm just using the same images for my product. Also we can read more, right? And then we can read less, so we can expand the description and then also collapse it. So we'll be looking at how to build this product details page in this particular video. If you are new here, please hit the subscribe button, and if you like today's content, don't forget to hit like as well. Okay, so back in the editor, the first thing we're doing is our products don't have description. So when we look at the UI, we realize that on the details page we need to show some description for each product. So I'm going to replace all our products we have over here with ones that have descriptions. So just a quick replace, and it did the same product, but then I've added descriptions to them, right? Now when I hot restart, we're not going to see anything because we are not displaying the description on this product card, right? So let's go back to our home page, and then more specifically our explore page. This is where we have our product card. So at the bottom here in our grid view we should have our product card. Now when we tap on each card, we want to navigate to a new page which we haven't created yet. So let's quickly create that page, and we are going to call that page the product details page. So a new file and then product details page, and this is going to be a stateful widget. So product details page like this, and let's import material. So I'm going to import material, and for now I want to return an empty scaffold. Also on this page we want to require the product we are tapping on. So when I tap on this product, I want to pass the product to the product details page, right, to the constructor. So I'm going to do final product and then just product, and I require this in the constructor as well as import it. So like this. Now back in our product card, we're going to wrap this card with a gesture detector. So that will allow us to have an on tap method on the card. So wrap with widgets and gesture detector. You can use inkwell as well, but then I prefer to use gesture detector. Now in the on tap, we want to navigate to the product details page whilst passing this product to that particular page. So in the on tap, I want to navigate navigator dot of context dot push, and the page is going to a material page route, and the builder is going to return our product details page, and we are going to pass in the product, right, like this. So if everything works, when we tap on our card, this should take us to a page, right? And for now we don't have anything on that page, but then we are sure that we are passing the specific product we are tapping on to that particular page. So let's go to our product details page, and then the first thing we want to have is an app bar. So I'm going to remove the cons here and then put an app bar, and let's see what we have when we tap on it. So now we have the automatically imply leading icon, which in this case is a back icon for us, right? So Flutter just put that there for us. So let's have a look at the UI again and realize that we have some icons and text in our app bar. so details, and then a bookmark icon, and then we have this image over here. So let's work on this really quick. So in the app bar, we are going to have a title. The title is going to have a text, and the text is going to be details. Right. So that's what we have. Then we are going to have our actions, and then the first item in the action is going to be our icon button, and then the onPress is going to be an empty function, and our icon is going to be not a heart icon but then a bookmark icon. So you can replace it with any icon you want, but we want to have a bookmark icon over here, right? So that's it for the app bar, and then we are done with the app bar. The next thing is going to be our body. So outside our app bar, within the scaffold, we are going to have our body, and our body is going to be a list view, and the reason is this page is going to be scrollable. Now the first thing we are going to do in our list view is give it some padding, because we don't want the widgets in the list view to be touching the edges of the screen. We're going to have some space here. So edge insect all, and then I'm going to pass in a value of 16, and then we are going to have our image. So this image here, right, which is the product image. In order to create this product image, there are two ways we can go about this. We can either use the image widget, and then use a clip rect widget to give the image a border radius. So realize that we have the border radius on this image, which is clipped, right? So the image is clipped a bit on the edges, giving it a border radius, and we can do that using the image widget and then the clip rect widget, or we can just use a container just like we did for our product cards. So what I'm going to do in this example is I'm going to use a container instead of the clip rect and then the image widget approach. So I'm going to have a container, and then I'm going to give it a height of 250, which is just a height I felt looks good. A width of 100%, so double dot infinity, and then we're going to have a decoration, a box decoration. Within the box decoration, we are going to have an image, which is going to take an image decoration. We're going to have other image within the decoration image, and then we are going to pass in our product image, right? So when we save, we should see our product image, which is the current product to be tapped on before coming to this page. Now let's add some styles to this. So just within the decoration image, we can add a fit property, and that is going to be box fit dot cover. So that will make sure that our image stretches to fill the container. And then we need our border radius. So just outside the decoration image, you can have the border radius property and give it a border radius dot circular and a value of 10. So this will give us the rounded image we want with this clipped edges. And when I tap on any of the products, realize we are getting this image passed in, right? Now the next thing is to have our title, the product title, and then these informations. So just after the container, I want to have a margin button, right? So the container has a margin property I can use, no need for sizer box. So I'm going to use a margin, and I'm going to give it a margin only. So edge insert that's only. I'm going to give it a button with a value of 16, right? So 16 like this. And I can also add the cons over here. So if you tap on this, there is a space with a value of 16 now here. So outside the container, we can have our text, which is going to be the title of this product. So widget dot product dot is in name, right? So name, and this is going to be the name of the product we tapped on. So let's add some styles. So I'm going to use a style from my theme, and theme dot of context dot text theme dot title large, right? So this is what I'm going to have for this. And then after that, I need some space, so I can either use padding or sizer box. And in this case, I'm going for a sizer box. So sizer box, and give it a height of 5, right? Now after this, we need some row to show our available in stock, and then this thing over here, which is the price per unit, right? So just after the text, we have a sizer box, and then we are going to have a row with some children. And the main axis alignment of that row, or this will be main axis alignment dot space between. So within the children, we are going to have just a text that says available in stock. And if you are building an actual product, this will be coming from your backend or your database. Right, good. Now let's change the style a bit. So I'm going to change the style, text style, and the reason I'm using text style is because the only thing I'll be changing in this is the color, right? So you need to copy the medium, the body medium text style, and then apply the color to it. So I'm going to change the color to theme dot off context dot color scheme, and then my primary color. So when I save, I get my available in stock here, and let me add a const here as well. So after the text, what we need is to have the pricing with the units, but then we have used this pricing and units thing in our product card. So when we come here, we have a rich text somewhere within our product card, right, which uses this pricing and units. So I'm going to copy this rich text over here and then move it to the product details page. And instead of product, it's going to be widget.product because it's stateful widget.product. When we save this, what we are going to get, but then we can change the style. So instead of body large, I'm going for title large with this, and then this will have the body small, just like that, right? So this is what we are going to have for available in stock, and then the price. So if we tap on a different product, realize that we get these values here. And the next thing after this is we need some space first. So we need some space, a small space, and then we have these values, right? So we have the rating, and then we have this quantity, right? So let's have a space after this row. I'm going to collapse the row, and just after it, I'm going to have a sizer box. So sizer box with a height of 10, right? So this will give me some space, and then I need a row, right, to represent my rating and then the star. So I need a row, and then the first thing is going to be our icon, and then our icons dot star. So that's the star icon, and if we save, we should have our star icon here. So icon dot star, and then I want to change some few things about it. The first thing is I want to reduce the size. So the size should be 16, which is a bit smaller, and then the color should be yellow. So colors.yellow.shade 600, because I don't like the default yellow. The default yellow is a bit too light, so this is the yellow I prefer. And then we add my icons here as well. So we have our icon here, and then we have our rating. So let's first have our text, and then we can have our rating. So product.rating like this, and then we want to show the number of people who have rated this product. But when we modeled our entity, so you see in brackets you have the total number of rating and then the average. When we modeled our entity, we didn't have anything like the total number of people that have rated a particular product. So this is a data that will be coming from your backend if you are actually building a serious product like an e-commerce app or any app that needs rating, and you want to show this value. So I'm going to hard code just the 192 we have over here in the UI, which means every product will have 192 people rating it, right? So I'm going to have this over here like that, and then we want to put the last item in this row far to the right, to the far right. So in order to do that, we can put a spacer widget within the row. Instead of having another row that will just house this icon and then a text, we can put all of them in just one row and then use a spacer widget to do the magic. So putting a spacer here will push everything to the right and everything to the left, more like a very big gap between whatever is before the spacer and whatever is after the spacer. So just after the spacer, we want to have our, so not recycle bin, but then I want to open this. So just after the spacer, I want to have these guys. Okay, so if I zoom in a bit, we can have these guys, right? So let's have an icon button, but then we want to restrict our icon button, the constraints of our icon button. So first, a sizer box with a height of 30 and a width of 30, and it's just the same thing we did for our product card. So if you come to our product card, realize we are just trying to recreate this whole thing. So you can just simply copy this guy over here, right, which is trying to shrink our icon button so it looks small. So if you come here, realize that in our product card we have these smaller icon buttons, right? So we use a sizer box to constrain the size of the icon button. So you can just copy this sizer box with the icon button over here, and then instead of recreating it from scratch, I can paste this guy here like this. If I tap on this, I should have this icon button over here, but that's not the icon we want. We want the icons dot remove, not bookmark. So remove, right? And also we want let me look at this again, whether it is failed. Yeah, so this is failed, so we can go with a failed version if there is one. So failed, so more like this, right? And then you can duplicate this. So adding a cons over here, you can duplicate this and have icons dot add. Good. So we have these two over here. Now we need to put a value in between them. So we are going to use a text widget. So we are going to use a text widget, which is just this text over here. So text, and then I'm going to put a value there, so 5, right? And if you look at how they did this thing, they have 1 pieces, so the counter also has the units, right? So we have the value and then the units. So I'm going to really do that. So 5, and then we have our product units here. So widget dot product dot unit, right? So if I do that, we have 5 days, and then we can use the counter. So let's style our text, and then the style is going to be from our text theme. So theme, not this one, dot of context dot text theme dot title medium, and then we want to copy that word. So we just don't want the title medium text theme, but we want to copy it with something else, right? So what we want to do is we want to override the font weight. So the font weight should be font weight dot bold, and this can be nullable, so put our question mark over here, and this is what we've got, right? So realize that the text is touching these buttons. In order to fix that, just wrap the text in a padding widget and give it a padding of symmetric. So that's going to be either vertical or horizontal, and then on the horizontal we want to have a value of 12, right? And this is what we are going to have. So if I tap on a product that uses kilograms, right, we have 5 kilograms over here, and this is just hard coded, right? So you can put 1 over here, so the user knows by default he's purchasing, or she's purchasing just 1 of these, right? So 5 kilograms over here, and that will be it for this part. So let's look at the next part, which is the description. So just after this row, I'm going to collapse this row, and then we can have our description. So our description, before our description, we need some space. I'm going to copy the sizer box and then paste it here and give it a value of 20, right? So we can now have our text, which says description, and the style of this text will be our title medium, right? And we want to copy that width. So we want to copy that width, and we don't need to forget our question mark or exclamation mark. Any of them will work. We want to copy that with a new font weight. So font weight should be font weight dot bold, like this. And then we have our description text over here. Right. Now below the description, this is where we are going to actually have the description of the product. So let's have some space here, and then put a value of 5 for the size of box, which we are using for spacing. Now when we look at the design we have over here, realize that our description has the read more text after the description. So we're not going to show all the description, we just show part of it, and then we add the read more here, and it's supposed to be on the same line, right? So in order to achieve this, we can't use just row to a row widget to achieve this. We need a rich text, right? So a rich text will be the perfect widget for this use case. So just after the sizer box, I'm going to have a rich text here, and then the text is going to be a text span, right? So with rich text we use text spans, and then within this text span we are going to have some children. So if you haven't used the rich text widget before, I will suggest you go through the official Flutter docs and then look at how to use the rich text widget. But then it is just really simple, as you can see over here. You have a rich text which takes in a text, and then the text is a text span. Right now, within the children of this text span, you can put multiple text spans here, and that's what we are going to do. So within the first text span, we are going to set the style for this rich text, and the style is going to be a text style from our theme. So theme.ofContext.text theme, and then our body medium text style. If you don't set a style, you're not going to see your text, right? Because there wouldn't be any style to use for the text to put in the rich text. So with the children, we are first going to have a text span, right? So the children also takes a text span, and then the text is going to be our description. So if I save this, realize that we just get all our description here, right? Now we can have our read more or read less button, or let's say text after our description. So just after our text span, which is within the parent text span over here, we can have another text span, and then the text is going to be read more. Notice that if you put the read more without a space here, you are going to get it concatenated just after the description. So you need a space over here like this, and that will give some space before the read more text. And let's start read more a bit. So we can just change the text style, right? So we use the normal text style, and then change the color. So we want the color to be our primary color, which is this green color over here, and that is going to be the read more. Our read more for now doesn't do anything, so we can't tap on it and nothing is happening. We can't read less as well. So what we are going to do is we need to have a state or a boolean state to determine whether the user is reading more or reading less, right? So in order to have that, just at the top over here under our state, we are going to create a variable which is going to be a boolean, and then the value is going to be show more, right? So show more, and then we set it to false initially. So initially we are not showing more, right? And then back here, so back to where we have our read more, we are going to do a ternary. So we want to check if we are reading more, then we want to take part of the description, and we want to show all the description. If you are reading less, then we want to show parts of the description. So this is how it's going to look. Instead of having just the widget.product.description, we are going to have more like an if statement. So if we are showing more, then we want to have the whole description. Else, we want to have, and this must be a string, so everything is going to be in a string. We want to have part of the description. And how are we going to do that part? So we can use the substring method. And if we use the substring method like this, where we are taking always 100 from 0 to 100, this might throw an error when the description is not up to 100 characters. So you have to be careful when using a fixed value for this. So in order to fix this, we want to get the length of this description. So widget.product, and I have to minimize this, .description .length, and now subtract a certain value from it. So we are going to take 100 from it. Right, so it means if we are showing more, then we want to show the whole description. Else we want to take 100 characters out of the description and then show it. Right, so back here, realize that we have just 100 characters. Our description is now 3 lines. We have less of 100 characters of our description. So for our description, we are taking 100 characters out of it. And now we have the read more here. So just like how we did the read more, if we are reading more, we want to show a different text. We want to show read less, else read more. So just within the text, if we are showing more, then we want to have read less, so read less, else read more. And for now, show more is false, right? So I think this is the exact description you're supposed to have for this particular product. So I previously had the old product description in mind. Yeah, so good. So this was the product I had a description in mind. So we are currently showing less, which is show more is off, show more is false for now. So we are currently showing less. So if we are showing more, then we have to show the user read less, else read more. Right, so I think maybe I can rename this variable. I don't think it's a good variable name, so showing more is a better name. So if we are showing more, then we want to have read less, else we want to have read more, right? So I think that's a better variable name. So how do we then toggle this? So we want to be able to tap on this text pan and then toggle this particular thing. Also, one thing I just realized is if we are reading more, just like in the UI, we want to have this ellipsis here. So what we can do is we can just bring back our string interpolation like this. So and then put the 3 dots here like this, right, so that the user knows that there is some content hidden. So when we tap on this, we want to toggle the visibility of the description, so whether we are showing more or we are showing less. Now in order to have a gesture recognizer on the text pan, which is tapping or dragging or whatever gesture you want to listen. In order to have that, we have something called recognizer on the text pan, which takes in a gesture recognizer. So what we are going to do is, back at the top here, which is under our state, we are going to have a tap gesture recognizer, which is going to listen for our read more gesture. Right, so that's if we tap on this particular read more, we want to listen for the tapping. So I'm going to create a variable which is going to be a lit variable, and that is going to be of type tap gesture recognizer, right? Because I want to recognize when the user taps on this particular read more text. And then I'm going to set it to the variable name to read more gesture recognizer, right? So recognizer like this. And now in the init state, when this widget gets initialized, I want to set this read more gesture recognizer to a tap gesture recognizer like this, just like we had over here. So the type, I'm setting it to a tap gesture recognizer. And what we can do on this tap gesture recognizer is it has an on tap function on it like this. So we can access the on tap and then set it to a particular function. So when this when we pass the read more gesture recognizer to our text span and then it gets tapped, what should happen, right? So it's more like we pass our read more gesture recognizer to our read more text span, and then when it is tapped, so we are accessing the on tap, we are setting it to a particular function. And what this function is going to set state and then change our showing more to the opposite. So if you are showing more, we want to set it to not showing more. Right? So showing more should be equal to not showing more, like this. So whatever the value of showing more was, we are just flipping that particular value. So if it is true, it gets turned to false. If it is false, it gets turned to true. And when this widget gets disposed, we want to dispose our gesture recognizer as well. So we can have our read more gesture recognizer dot dispose. And if you're a bit confused about this, you can just hover over gesture recognizer, tap gesture recognizer, which is in the text span. So recognizer like this, and then you have an example of how this is being done, right? So that's how you handle gestures on text spans. Now the recognizer is going to take our read more recognizer like this, and we are going to have an error for late initialization, so just have to hot restart, and that is going to fix it. So if I tap on read more, realize that it toggles the showing more, and then we now get the full content, and read less does the opposite. So that's how we create our read more and read less. Now next on the UI, we want to show related products, right? So the first thing I'll do is to copy the description over here we have over here. So the description, and then put it after the rich text. So description, we're going to have related products, and also we need some space, right? So we can copy the sizer box we have over here and then change the height. So I'm going to put that here, and then I'm going to change this height to maybe 20. 20 should look good. Just so we have related product or similar product, any text you put there, so related products should look good. And then we want to show a list of products that can be scrolled horizontally, right? So in order to do that, we are going to use a list view, right? So let's just come to our text, and after that we should have some spacing over here to show our list view. I'm going to give a height of 10, right? That's the space between the title and then the related products. So let's first have a list view. So list view, and then I'm going for the separated. So list view dot separated, and the item count is going to be the number of items going to show us a related product. These data would be coming from your backend if you are building an actual product, but in our case we just want to show the list of our products again over here, right? So I'm going to use the product dot length, and now our separator builder is what we'll be using to separate each widget. So realize that there is some kind of gap between each product, right? So we are going to have a separator builder, which is just a function that returns a widget for separating this related product. So I'm going to have a sizer box here and then give it a width, and then a width of 10 should be okay, I think. Now our item builder should return the actual widget we want to build. So in our item builder function, we are going to have a card, right? So more like a container like we had over here. So this container over here, but a smaller version. So we want to have a container like this for now, like this, and we're not going to see anything. So by default, the list view scrolls vertically. So the first thing we have to do is to change the scroll direction to be axis dot horizontal, and that's going to scroll horizontally. Also, a list view inside a list view will throw an error in Flutter. So if I check the debug console right now, I'm having an error here. Right, so in order to fix that, you must constrain the height of this list view because we are scrolling horizontally. So I'm going to have this in a sizer box and then give it a fixed height of 90. Right, so the reason why I came up with the value 90 is because I tested with other values and I realized 90 is a good value for this use case. So I'm going to have this sizer box, the height of 90, and then within the container I'm going to have a height of 90 as well, and then a width of 80. And also I want to have a decoration, so just like how we did the cover image, right? So in the decoration we are going to have an image, and we are going to have an image an asset image, and that's going to be our widget dot product dot not our widget dot product, because we don't want to have the same we don't have to have the same image repeating. So we are going to rather have our product index, which is the current product we are looping, and then the image, because we are using this item count as product, right? So we need the decoration image before the asset image. So image, we are going to pass in the decoration image, and then the image is going to be an asset image, and the value is going to be our product index dot image, and that's what we are going to have. So let's fix that with the box fit, and then set it to cover, right? Then we are going to have this, and I want to give it a border radius. So in the container inside the decoration, we can have a border radius, and then set the border radius to a circular, and then pass in a value of 8. Okay, so this is going to be what we'll be having. And now the last thing after the related products, so this should scroll horizontally. If you're on iOS, you should see it like this, but if you're on Android, you have a little glow over here. So in order to fix that, you just have to change the physics of this list view to bouncing scroll faces, and that is going to remove the glow. It's going to give you the Apple over scroll bounce, right? So if it's over scrolls, it bounces off like this. Now after this, we want to have our button. So if we come to the UI again, we have a button that says add to cart. So just after the sizer box, we want to have some space, which is of height 20, and then have a filled button. So instead of elevated button, we're going to have a filled button, and then we want to put an icon here. So filled button dot icon. The on press is going to be an empty function for now, and then we need a label instead of child. So the label is going to be a text that says add to cart, and then we need an icon as well. So our icon is going to be from our iconly package. So icon, and then our iconly package, iconly light dot bag 2, right? Now you see we are going to have this button we see over here, and then we can add our const everywhere, right? So this is how the details page would look like after this, and we can try tapping on other products to see the details page, right? Yeah, so this is the details page of the Plant app. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you are new here, please subscribe. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section. Also, the source code to this project will be linked in the description of this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.